Welcome to this year thriving moment brought to you by the Sovereign Light radio broadcast, Anchor FM, and made also available on 6 other different platform distributions. Live from North York, Ontario, Canada. I am your hostess, Reverend Maria Arvanides, and from Las Vegas, Nevada, our very special guest, Jeannine Wand. Welcome, Jeannine. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderfully, doing this beautiful. How about you, Maria? How are you today?
A little bit of a hair day going on and some technical things, but we're going to have a wonderful time together here.
Yes, we are.
Won't you join us, folks, here with Jeannine Wand, A Nurturing Journey to Remembrance from Las Vegas, Nevada. She's born in Illinois on August 11th, 1968, into a family with a brother and another sister. In 1990, graduated from Oral Roberts, a private evangelical and very influential Christian university. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, became a mother to a son and 2 daughters. Jeannine Wand is a spiritual intuitive, trauma healing expert, and certified dream coach. She is also on the SCI Board of Directors and Success Coach Training Team. Jeannine's greatest influencers were Christian ministry and with Rapha Healing Ministries' mandate to bring healing and wholeness to all who are broken. Lady Jeannine has learned to offer pastoral counseling services, and in 2010 founded her own Rapha Healing Institute. Jeannine Wand is a priestess and sister from the rose lineage and sacred wisdom of the divine feminine. In 2015, Jeannine became the gatekeeper to a richly held temple space at the Temple of the Sacred Rose. As an energetic, intuitive healer and transformational guide with over 20 years experience, Lady Jeannine can help us to connect to our source, discover the kind of depth of field that brings about a frequency of ancient times, and from it, the divine creation that is us. Join us here today on this mission, and that can to lead us through an opening to sacred comprehension with Lady Jeannine Wand, A Nurturing Journey to Remembrance.
Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, Maria. Thank you so much for that introduction. Wow, so powerful. I appreciate that.
Well, it's an honor. I'm so excited to have you here.
And I'm so excited to be sitting with you today. Thank you so much for the invitation and for inviting me on. I'm so richly blessed and honored to be with you today.
Connecting with us. It's so empowering for you folks who have gathered and have taken interest. And however, your true calling and passion. Can you expand? What is this? The current work and temple space that you created?
Yeah, I can absolutely expand a bit. So as you read, as you read a little bit about my bio, I have a deep passion to really help others heal and to help them heal at a soul level. And to me, that is about the heart healing. I believe that the heart is our greatest source of divine connection. We'll hear people talk about, oh, your root, your sacral, your crown, and all these other, things on your body. And I believe that the greatest connection and what connects everything in our life is our hearts. That when we are able to clear the clear our hearts, it allows us right into the sacred womb of the mother. Right. I often describe that we are like the living embodiments, that we are living in the amniotic fluids of the mother, where all the nourishment happens at. And we are right in her care. And when we can open and clear our heart space for that, it allows us that place where we can heal at the deepest soul level. And so my current work really is around bringing people knowing who they are, into their own sacred divinity, understanding that we are all connected to divine source, that we are all part of it all, that we are all sacred in this life, that we walk on a sacred earth, and to really honor that within their being. So I hold private one-on-one journeys as well as group journeys, usually about once a month. And then I offer, I offer ceremonial journey with that work, and with sacred medicine work. And then I also do private one-on-one healing work via Zoom and also in person. So that's right now, not right now what I do. I can also offer a little bit more detail as to what that entails for me.
Is that for those who wish to look you up, your website, www.templeofthesacredrose.com?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That is correct. I'm in the middle of revamping it, so there'll be something fresh in the next month or so that comes up. But that is a perfect way to get a hold of me. You can email me directly at that site at Jeannine at Temple of the Sacred Rose. And you can always, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook also. They will come up there too. And it's the Temple of the Sacred Rose on Instagram.
I notice here you have communion with the Sacred Rose package, a 3 healing session package, take a deeper look into yourself package, and communion with the Sacred Rose. Now, does this have anything to do with Christianity?
You know what? So here's how I like to describe it. I truly believe that everything in this life is all connected. We are living in such a time where, we are still living in such separateness, where everyone wants to separate everything out. And what I found over my journey in this life, over what I'm realizing now is about 40 years in ministry work of some kind, since I was about 13 years old, is that it's all connected. We might dive into one thing and then come on out of it, but when we can really connect the dots of our life, I can truly assure you that it's all connected. In my work, in my current work, I tap a great deal into the Sophionic lineage, or what we call the Christ lineage, the Christos. And I work a great deal with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, and several other beings that show up in my space, the archangels. And so whereas somebody might be like, oh, that's Christianity, I think it's just divinity. I think it's all sacred divinity. It's all the things that somehow or another somebody put in a box over in this religion or in a box over in that religion. And I think it's all of ours to be there with us. I just think it's been corrupted and co-opted in so many ways that we just don't connect back to it. So
Like to compartmentalize, and that's one of the biggest hurdles of overcoming grief as well, I think.
Very much so. Very much so. I began to even go back. I didn't grow up in Catholicism, but about I would say about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, I was sleeping and spirit woke me up in the middle of the night and I hear pray the rosary. And I sat up and I said, I'm not Catholic, as I often do when spirit's speaking to me. And they said, it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with Catholicism. And I said, what? I said, it doesn't. And I said, well, I don't own a rosary. And I hear, yes, you do. It's in your top drawer. That beautiful crystal beaded necklace with the cross on the end is a rosary. Lo and behold, I take it out and I'm like, oh, it's a rosary. I've been carrying the necklace for 10 years and did not realize that I was wearing a rosary because of the way the beading's done on it. I had to realize that the drop down little cross with all of its beading was a rosary. I began even then to tap into the ancient wisdom of the rosary, and it didn't belong to the Catholic Church. It came from way ancient times. So much of what we do and what's in and around us that has been spoken into the earth has nothing to do with religion. We are just told it is when it does not have to do with it.
It's the legal aspect of it, to hold it down into an indoctrine kind of system kind of way. I found that even now spirituality is coming back, a revival amongst the churches, but
Yes.
it's still holding on to that patriarchal division where there's no kind of leveling aspect to any other gender, race, species, or what have you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's part of what we are here to do. What those of us who really embody the divine feminine are here to do, right? It's because there is that thing of, just this patriarchal, the male, the father. And I often describe to people, I will say, God does not live in the angry box of this father who's going to kill us all and send us to hell if we don't do what he says, right? That really has nothing to do with God. That was somebody's made up stuff that doesn't have nothing really to do with who God or goddess is, however you want to put it, right? The sacred divine source does not operate this way. Just like we as parents, for those of us who are parents, you don't yell at your children and then think, well, if you don't act right, I'm disowning you. That's it. You make one step over this line, I'm gonna send you to hell forever, or you're gonna be eternally damned. Think about how horrible that actually is. If this is a divine father and this is his actions toward us, it doesn't make us feel loved. That is one of the first places where they get us, right? Is to create this idea that somehow or another we can step away from love, that we can step away from the sacredness of the divine. And we truly are never, ever, ever out of a place of relationship and love from the divine. It is something that it's a lie in the system. It's an illusion. And I believe in this moment in time, that veil is being ripped and torn away so that we can see ourselves in our own sacred divinity and understand that divine love is what is beckoning each of us home. It is always calling us. It always wants us. It always loves us. And we are coming into a different understanding as to what love actually is. I don't think many of us really understand what true love is. And that love comes in from the divine source of the mother. And I believe then it is connected back to the father and then brought down to us.
Right. Can you explain a little bit more, connect us to this organization that you have going, a sisterhood?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see a lot popping up in the field. I know if you do internet searches or on the web at all, you will see things about the rose is often there. I got the information about the rose about 10 years prior. And what I have found is this lineage of the sacred sisters of the rose, and it's also for men. So for men, don't feel left out. It's actually for all of us. But particularly right now, coming through, you'll see a lot of it coming through. And again, as I began to get the information about 10 years ago, I found that many of the divine beings, if we look back we look back at Mary Magdalene, who was not just Mary Magdalene that we see in the Bible. The Magdalens was actually a group of divine women, a group of divine beings, and they carried this Christos, this Christ lineage, right? They were able to perform miracles. They were healers. They were midwives. They were birthers. And so when you look back at that, when you can really see the lineage that was and take away all that stuff we've been taught, Mother Mary, and then the person that was considered Yeshua's grandmother, Anna, if I'm getting it correctly, they were all connected to this lineage. And we saw that they were able to literally perform miracles. So that is the lineage that I tap into, and that is the lineage that I bring women back into. And again, also men, they're allowed to show up in my space too. Bring them back into the wisdom of that lineage to show them the sacred divinity that lives within each of us. I don't think there's a being on this planet that is not sacred. Some of us have gotten lost and off the path, but there is nothing that keeps us from that except for ourselves. And so I'm that gentle guide, sometimes not so gentle guide. Sometimes I need to push you a little bit to get you to see who you really are. And so my space offers a place for women to come and heal. I will hold space for both, masculine and feminine, for men and women, but I have many, many places where I particularly only invite women in. And the reason why I do that is because I believe women have lacked a place to come to where they feel safe to express who they are, where they're able to dance like they want to dance or cry or do whatever it is on their journey. So that my ceremonial spaces often will include just women to bring us back to the feminine, to bring us back to the fierceness of our being. We often see people or beings that we saw, like, Mother Mary, and she's broken and she's lost and her son has died. And that's not how Mother Mary really is. That's not how she shows up in my channel. And it's not how I see her any longer. To hold the divinity that she held, this was a powerful, powerful woman. And so I bring women back to that place of seeing their own beauty, their own power of creation, because we are all divine creatrix, right? We have the power to create. What we need the masculine to begin to do is hold the line of faith so that we can bring the line of faith of the masculine together with the feminine so that we can create the worlds that we want to create for ourselves and to really change the consciousness on the planet. So that's really what my space is about.
This is like a little bit of a power struggle that men are having for some
Mm,
reason. Um, and I don't know how, like you have a son, I
I
think
do. I
Dylan,
have a son and 2 daughters, yes.
and how did he feel growing up in an environment full of women? Like how is
I,
that?
I think that's a little tough for him at times. You know what? But my son, he just turned 18. He knows and he understands. Even if on a daily basis he doesn't walk it out, I know that he knows. My son has sat in medicine space with me, has sat in my temple space. And I got to tell you, when he can allow that to really be in his being, he's a fierce, powerful force for the feminine. He has to learn to step into it without the fear somehow or another that the women are going to take over, because that's really, I think, the bottom line fear is that they're going to lose something, but they're not losing anything. They gain so much when you allow the feminine to truly descend on this planet. They gain so much because men are equally trapped in this stuff. They just don't realize that they're trapped. So when we allow that divine feminine energy to descend on this planet again and to come offer healing, it heals us all, the masculine and the feminine, the male embodied and the female embodied. We all need it. It heals the racial things that are happening. It heals the discrepancies between, class systems that shouldn't exist, economic systems. But we have to be open to allow this presence back into the earth where she belongs and to allow her to truly descend into the earth so that that becomes a part of our beings again.
There's so many divisions out there, and now with the artificial intelligence and the technocrats that
Mm,
are creating their own creation, like Athena coming out of Zeus's head.
yeah.
This is a really great fear of mankind that the machines are going to destroy them and kill them all. And again, that fear, they think that they're going to run away or hide or cover it up, but it keeps surfacing all the time.
But isn't fear their greatest weapon against us? Think about it. Fear is all racism is about fear.
Yes.
The misogyny is about fear, fearing of the AI. The greatest weapon, if there was a source of darkness, the greatest weapon that source has against us is fear. Because if you can get caught up in the fear of anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's racism, technology, whatever it is, when you're trapped in fear, you cannot see the divine working through you. You do not understand that there's a way out of all of it. You become too scared and your mind becomes fixated on whatever it is that you're scared of, right? And then we shut off our connection to source and our ability as humans on this planet to overcome anything that's on it. And when we begin to work together, understanding this, and we'll begin to bring together all of our consciousness, like really into one thing, it doesn't matter what it is they come up with. We can overcome it.
I noticed that you had a YouTube somewhere. You don't have a YouTube channel.
No, I haven't been using it, but I promise that this year I'm going to step into it because Spirit is really calling me to use my voice. It's the healing voice. And I have such, I just finished a call this morning about this. I really do. I used to do speaking engagements in my 20s, and I have a really beautiful voice in the sense that it's calming. And so I promise that this year, Maria, I will get my YouTube going and put out some more videos for meditation and some prayers and some of my other writing work, because I do think that it's important. People do need a source to go to where there's a sense of calming presence, where there isn't this fear, always constantly being out there. So I promise in a few months you will see more, and I'll let you know.
We absolutely invite it and we welcome it in. We need this connection to the feminine to balance out the world and make it whole, integrated, and pristine to so that man can rise above to that level.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the mature level, the pristine man, because right now they're just like little boys. They're like haven't matured to that level.
And we need the sacred, not just the masculine, we need the sacred masculine to show up again. The sacred masculine, way different, way
and
different.
and all this fear is like a paternal thing. Oh, because we're afraid of the father. Well,
Yes.
come on, why don't you step into that and
Yeah.
become that father, and then you'll understand, you see,
Yeah.
to comprehend that instead of like be so disconnected. It's a toxic father
It's a
patriarch.
very toxic father thing, right? That's what I said, this whole image of this father that's gonna punish us all and send us to hell for eternity. That's very toxic, and that is exactly what's wrong, and that, I believe, is finally being ripped from the system. I hope I say ripped, but we know it's been a slow process, right? Because I know you and I have been in the work a long time. That veil, I think, is being ripped. It's got to be rent in order for us to see through the illusion, this toxic father image that's the punisher. And then, that's the thing that's put on to little boys before they even get to the planet. They're in their mother's womb, and there's this, oh, they got to be this and they got to do this and they got to, hit and run and build, and it's toxic. And so then they begin to feel like they can't meet this role. And then they step in, all sorts of violent things happen because of this toxic masculinity that I really believe also wants to be healed on this planet. It has to be healed. We do have to pay some attention to the masculine in order for it to be healed, because we're wanting it to be released from the planet. We don't want just, so if every woman on the planet healed, that would still leave the other whatever quarter half of the population without healing, right? We need it all to heal, and we need to really begin to bring this energetic of the masculine, the sacred masculine, really coming in and healing that masculine energy that's there. We carry both energetically within our bodies, the masculine and the feminine,
How
and we need
does,
to heal.
yes, so how does man, for instance, step up to the plate and take responsibility, and not put the blame on, oh, it's the aliens, or some kind of like, get someone else to do your dirty work so that karma doesn't get you and it gets those, and then it just kind of messes everything up. And the secret brotherhood, or whatever all these occult things are,
Right.
and they get everybody to do their dirty work, and then their hands are clean. But and then they say, oh, Christ will save us, Christ will forgive us. That's kind of so irresponsible. No wonder they've created a fearful God and all these things, right?
No, it's been around for so long, right? This energetic of it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter what our behavior, we can kill people, we can do whatever, and Christ will, heal us and he'll forgive us. It's really disgusting. I don't think toxic is a good enough word even for it. Because if you think about this, if you are killing and destroying in the name of religion, how does this have anything to do with God? It really doesn't. And so I don't know if I have a direct answer as to what, like, there's not one exact cure. I honestly believe the more we, as those that are female embodied, and the ones who have already shown up in the sacred masculine, the more we stand in our own power, the more we're not afraid to come out of the closet and come out of the dark ourselves, the more that stuff happens. Because then we begin to birth young men on the planet who understand that from birth. And we can help those who are already here begin to find themselves, because it is so toxic and so heavy in our environment. I think it's the only way. Our only way out is finding ourselves and understanding ourselves and the sacredness of our own selves. I would say the majority of the problem, 100% of the problem on the planet, is us not understanding that we are sacred and this life is sacred. We are born into this life basically being told usually one or two things. Either we're nothing, or there is some godfather in some religion that's going to kill us if we don't act right. What would be the point then of acting right? What would be the point of living if you don't understand the sacredness of your life and the value of who you are? I think that's how we begin, is to restore the sacredness of the life, that every step we walk in this life is sacred. Every moment of it should be treated that way.
And I see with the pandemic now, you can't get any exemptions for medical, really. So people have gotten into religious exemptions,
Mhm.
which I'm not allowed to give from my ministry, because it's all legal implications. But
Right.
now we have countries like where I was born in Greece, and I did come from an Orthodox background. And they're starting to take back, the priests are starting to come up and rise up and speak up and gather their congregations and say, why aren't we doing this?
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing is though, I still see them in the division of they don't accept same sex, they don't accept well,
Other.
maybe the
Yeah.
masculine, but
Mhm.
it's still, the feminine is something that, it just blows me away how disrespectful. And the books that they have of they show in the covers of basically, what is it, Saint Irene? She's like half the size of, Saint whoever it is, that the book. And it's like, why are you, she's like half the man a woman would be. And it's like they're still doing this, impressing upon, they haven't really changed. So they really need this pandemic to give them a swift kick and
I think
do
that's what the
something,
pandemic
wake
is.
them up.
I think that's exactly what it's being used for. I always say that anything that may have been put out initially as a source for bad or evil or whatever you want to call it, spirit can take that and use it for good, because they do need a swift kick in the butt. They really do. I actually said in a Greek Orthodox church about a year ago, a friend of mine crossed over and I was I had the honor of being present at a dedication for her. And I was marveled at the beauty of the church and all the stuff. And I'm looking around, I'm going, wow, this is pretty amazing. So much of what most, I would say all religions, Catholicism, Greek Orthodox, whatever it is, I sit there and I realize how much was actually taken from the divine feminine, from the traditions of the goddess. When you look at things like Notre Dame, Notre Dame was built right on top of the Isis temple. And if you look back at the historical findings there until, I can't remember, 16 something, I don't have the notes in front of me to tell me, around that temple actually were female figures. Then it went to Mother Mary, and now it's become, I think, a couple of Mary and all the men, right? This is purposefully done. When you can begin to really trace history back and understand that the feminine was wiped out on purpose, out of fear of our power, out of fear of us doing exactly what we can do, which is create anything that we want to create.
And
That's
they're doing it in our society. They're
yes.
doing it in our profession. They're like the brotherhood, like the Freemasons that are holding the whole funeral services and all these underground, connections that they have to the church. And they're still doing it. And, it really upsets me because I think I still see it in my eyes, through my eyes. I see the priests, when they do a graveside service, they're channeling.
Oh,
They're
yeah, they
trying
are.
you know,
But nobody wants to call it that, right?
yeah, but if a woman does it, it's
Mhm.
like, oh, she's like a witch, or she's like this, or she's like so evil, and she's the evil. And they split us into good and bad. And we get so much judgment on us that it's like, well, I totally connect. Let's say I do connect to the Orthodox religion. And the first English language I started learning when I first immigrated here, I was taking Sunday school. And then the church kind of threw me out eventually, because after a certain age, a woman grows into her menses cycles and she's only allowed to learn so much. And so, the woman is always considered the evil, or she should be subordinate to the man. And I see the priest always trying to put, his hand on me and kind of do all these things. And it's really corrupted. And
Well,
it's,
it
no,
is,
you're
and
not going to have your
that
way with
kind of
me,
no, and that kind of predatory energy,
Yes.
unfortunately, exists in every single system. Where I don't care whether you're out in the middle of the, Amazon jungle, all the way to every church. It's there in the system. This is where we then begin to take it back. We create our own temple spaces. We create our own churches, whatever it is. This is how we take it all back. Because we can no longer sit in this quiet space and they are doing what they're doing. But the more that we step into our own empowerment, the more it breaks the consciousness of all of it. We are all connected, this interconnected weave and web, right? So every thought, everything is connected. The more we step into who we are, the more it dissipates the system, the more that we get out information out there, the more that people begin to hear and see that this stuff is corrupt and it's no longer going to be tolerated. I do think that it's shifting. Hasn't been a big shift, but it's enough of a shift for us to get, like you're doing, even your radio show now. This gets the information out there that we are powerful beings. We began to shift the stories around the church, around the stuff that's been co-opted, around the stuff that's been stolen. We shift the idea of these women being, with the story of the Magdalene. Who was Magdalene really? Who were the Magdalene really? Who was Mother Mary? What was she really? Who was Anna, Jesus' grandmother? What were these things really? instead of allowing this, the distortion of what's in the system, the more we stand up in our own power and the more we speak the truth around stories and the more we show historical facts, that's how things change. And it changes around everything. When we begin to change the conversation, even around race, what really took place, and we are willing to stand up ourselves and speak truth of what really happened in the systems, it all has to eventually fall. It's been a slow process. It can be frustrating at times to stand here, particularly as a Black embodied woman, a Black Indigenous woman, right? And then I threw spirituality on top of it, you know, to stand here sometimes and go, well, it's not changing. But the truth is, it is changing. And we can hold our consciousness so high that we cause a greater change and a quicker change for it all.
You're in the, you're like a native
I am.
Aboriginal or
I
First
am.
Nations?
I am native. I have native indigenous blood to the North and South Americas, and then I obviously have some African connection also. Not necessarily by the color of the skin, you really can't go by that, but yes, I do. I have in North and South America. My mother's family comes in from South America, from Belize, and also from the Blackfoot Indian here in the North America, and then my father's family comes in from the Cherokee.
Oh my God, that is so powerful. Belize, is that like the bird tribe people?
No, Belize is down into South America. It's really funny that you
Oh,
mentioned bird tribe though, because that's a connection for me also. So
oh, okay. All right. Can you, do you want to talk about it?
I don't know if I can elaborate enough on it in this moment because I've been doing a lot of genealogical searches and finding a little bit out. I'm getting ready to actually, hopefully this year, get down to Belize, but also to Brazil because I'm really being led along that path. As far as my spirit tells me that there is a deeper, even ancestral connection to Brazil, and so I'm getting ready to look. I know that my great grandmother's mother spoke Portuguese, and she had come in from South America. And so as I explore more, then I'll share more as to what I find out.
Wow. Is there something, I know that you're really good at doing meditation. Are you open to some kind of meditation prayer or something like that that we can share?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. Let's just see let's see what, about how much time do I have? Or were you just,
I don't know. Are you keeping track of this?
no, I have no idea.
Oh man, I think it's like maybe half hour we went into it. I don't know
Yeah,
really.
about 15 minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just get settled into space also myself and ask spirit, what do they want to hear and see and say today? So if you could just close your eyes with me for a moment and just take a deep breath in through your nose, releasing it gently back out through your mouth. And then another deep breath in through your nose. Holding this one for a moment while you let your body settle. And then releasing it gently back out through the mouth as you feel led to. Again, allowing the energy of your body to settle and to ground. Whatever that feels like for you in this moment, whether it is with your legs crossed or your feet flat on the ground. Taking another deeper, still breath, a slow breath in through your nose. Holding this one just for a moment. And releasing it again through the mouth. And at this moment, just for a few seconds, I'm going to ask you to place your tongue at the roof of your mouth. This is called the Bagda, and it allows all the energy fields of your body to connect. And as you do that, begin to call back in all parts of yourself, all the little parts of yourself that may have traveled away, that may have become too afraid to live fully within your body. Or maybe they've just been off playing, but invite all parts of yourself to return fully to your body. all parts of your soul, across all time, all space, all universes, welcoming in the fullness of who you are, the fullness of your soul, back fully into this body in this current time, in this current moment. Inviting in the resources of your higher self, of the I am self that knows who you are and what you need, that knows you in every part of your being. The part of you that is the God self, that knows the source, that knows the divine creatrix within yourself, that knows that you are sacred divinity. With a breath, invite all parts back fully to unite with you right now. And as you keep taking gentle, deep breaths in, we invite in right now our angelic teams, those who watch over us, who gently guide us, the archangels, the divine light beings, each one of your guides. We invite in the energy of the Sacred Mother, the divine feminine Christ consciousness, the Christos, the creatrix of all that we are. We ask right now for her love, her beauty, her gentle guidance, her fierce hand when it's needed. We ask right now that we begin to see ourselves as she sees us, holding us in the sacred waters of her womb, offering us gentle nourishment, everything that we need in this life. And with another breath in, begin to see yourself floating in the beauty, the warmth of the sacred waters of the womb space of the Divine Mother. Again, paying attention to your breath. As you're floating now in the safety and beauty of this water, the safety and beauty of the amniotic fluids of the womb of the Divine Mother. Allow yourself to open, laying on your back, allowing your arms to go to the side, seeing these waters of their crystal clear blue and pink light flooding in. Allowing yourself to float gently in these sacred waters. And as you take another deep breath in and releasing it out through the mouth, you're floating in the beauty of these sacred waters. I would ask you right now, as you take a breath, seeing yourself held again in the beauty and the safety of the warm water of the womb of the mother. As you take another breath in, ask yourself, what is it that your heart needs? I'll give you a moment. What is it that your heart needs? Paying attention to your breath. What is it that your heart needs? As your heart speaks to you and begins to tell you what it needs, allow it to sink in. Allow whatever it is that your heart needs to come. Maybe your heart is showing up saying that it just needs a run, that it needs to go out in nature, it needs to be. Begin to bring yourself into a place where you can see yourself running. Maybe your heart needs to shed tears. You've been too afraid to cry. You've been too afraid that the waters that break would not stop. Offer your heart a space to cry in right now. Maybe your heart just needs to dance and it needs good food. Picture yourself dancing. Picture yourself eating the best foods, whatever that means for you. But give your heart the space for what it needs in this moment. remembering right now that you are laying safely in the sacred waters. This is a place to offer the prayers for what your heart needs back to the Divine Mother, back to the divine feminine source of creation. Laying in the very amniotic fluids, the place of the creative womb, offer back to her what it is that your heart needs. Remembering your breath in this moment. See yourself receiving the gift and allowing yourself the time to open and to fully be with your heart for a few moments. As the divine love begins to penetrate your heart, I'd like to take a moment as you float in the sacred waters of the Mother, and next to offer your heart a gift. So taking a really good, deep breath in. This one, bring it all the way from the bottom of your spine, sipping it up really, really slowly. Really slowly, allow the breath to come all the way up through the body. And when you get to the top of the breath, hold it for a moment. And then release it back out. And just pay attention to your breath as you're still floating safely in the waters of the Mother. And as your heart's requesting a gift, I would like you to begin to picture a beautiful box in your hand. As the box begins to form in your hand, create this package of what looks like beauty to you. Maybe it has a bow, maybe it doesn't, maybe it's plain brown paper, or maybe it's very intricately designed. As you picture this beautiful box, this gift for your heart that's in your hand, begin to pull that box close to your heart. Even as you're floating on your back in the sacred waters, this beautiful box that's appearing in your hand contains a gift for your heart. This is something that your heart has longed for. Holding your box and seeing it form. Take another good deep breath in for me. Really good. Deep from within the belly. And I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, I'd like you to take one hand and open up your box and look inside and see what the gift is that you're going to offer to your heart. Again, take a really good deep breath in for me, and I'm going to count. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your box. Deep breath in, 1. Another deep breath in, 2. And 3. Open your box, see what's inside, see what the gift is that your heart is wanting and that you're going to offer your heart. All right. And as your box is open, offer that beautiful gift to your heart. And remind your heart that you are love. And that you can never really lose love because you are love itself. And bringing us into a place of close, we just say, so it is. And thank you.
Thank you. That was so blissful. Feeling the bliss.
Yeah.
And my box had the sun.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Love that. Yes.
There's something about the sun that it just reminds me of my mother.
It's beautiful. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you so very much, Jeannine.
Oh, and thank you so much, Maria, for even having me today. It's just been an honor. Just been a beautiful honor to speak with you, to be here on your program, and to, to be a part of the unfolding of consciousness on this planet right now. It's a beautiful honor to sit with this work.
What a beautiful and soothing gift. You know, it's like being outdoors in the sun and just sunbathing, and it's just like all illuminating your, in my head area anyway, like that blissful feeling. It just opens your crown chakra. Well, I don't, you want to talk about chakras, but yeah.
The whole other thing, right?
Right. Um, so, in closing, for more information on the packages and services of Lady Jeannine that she offers, you can visit her website, templeofthesacredrose.com. I don't know if you want to email her directly, if that's okay. You know,
Emailing me directly from the site is fine. And you can also, like I said, you can also find me on Instagram, and it's also at Temple of the Sacred Rose. You're welcome to message me there. There will be a new website coming in the next month or so, but sending me messages on either site is fine. I do check my messages regularly, and I get back to people pretty quickly, either direction. You can look for me also if you are internationally and for some reason can't reach me. You can look for me directly on WhatsApp at Jeannine Grace. You'll find me there, and you're welcome to message me that way also.
and we said Instagram, Temple of the Sacred
Instagram,
Rose, uh,
Instagram, Temple of the Sacred Rose. It's a perfect way to get a hold of me, and I do look at my messages there also.
and LinkedIn, Jeannine
Um,
Wand, no?
yeah, LinkedIn, Jeannine Wand also, yes.
And you're also on twitter.com, Jeannine Wand.
Yes, Jeannine Wand. Jeannine, you'll see if you ever see me as Jeannine Grace, because that's my spiritual name, and so
Oh,
that's God name. And so some of my things on WhatsApp or other places are like I think the other one is Telegram. You'll see at Jeannine Grace, and that's why, because that's my God name. So, but my given name is Jeannine Wand, and it's easy to find me that way.
you know, Jeannine, is it Jeannine or Jeannine? Oh, it says Jeannine.
Jeannine. It's Jeannine. It's
Okay.
actually spelled the French way because my mother spent some time in Montreal all when she was a little girl, and so we all got French spellings of our name, but Jeannine. Yes.
Wow. I would love to have you on here again and
From God.
see where we're going. I don't know. You were busy doing a move this year. I'm looking perhaps on making a move as well, and we just have to go with it, right? When it
Yes,
comes.
you just go where spirit leads is the best way to go.
Right, right. And yeah, is in closing, is there anything else that you would like to impart with us?
I think we've covered so much today in this short time, so I really appreciate that. I think that the really biggest message that I have is the same thing that I said at the beginning about really reconnecting to the divine source of love and reconnecting our hearts back to the heart of the Sacred Mother. It truly is what we need. And is truly, if there was a thing that was going to save us, I don't believe in the whole savior thing, but if there was a thing that we needed, it's to connect back to divine sacred union, to connect back to our hearts and to really walk this path of divine love, which is us in our hearts, and then connecting it back to the source of all, connecting it back to the Divine Mother. That's how we get home.
There is a saying, mindfulness, which I equated to think less. When we stop thinking, then the heart takes over in the driver's seat, and we start feeling more, and then directing our thoughts with intention. Then things are going to start happening because then we can take action. So when we stop thinking and letting the thoughts become in the driver's seat, or better yet, how people just shoot and then follow the aim, um, our energy field increases, so we're able to take in more light and vibrate out more and
Absolutely.
our surroundings, and that's where it comes from, the heart.
It really does come from the heart. It's from the heart. That's why we have to work on our hearts. Our hearts can be such a hard place for us to go to, but it's really what we need. It really is.
And we have more nervous, the electromagnetism that goes up to the brain is all in the heart connected, and
Yes.
the heart is the most powerful. And we think that our mind is like operating in our brain. It's not. It's the ethereal,
Yep.
and
It
it's
is.
so much more huge than possibly we can conceive. And so
Yeah.
it's the heart that is the key that can open us up to the higher heart,
Yes.
and then from there open into the lahun that the Egyptians.
Yes. I love all of this. It's so amazing, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
amazing.
yes. And it all connects to all the religions and the beautiful symbols that they have, not to be taken and idolized and worshipped in a kind of enslaved
Not at all.
way. It's to free us, to show us that the cross is so important, because that's the Tortoris, the tube Tortoris, with every breath in and out that we take, that is the pillar of the light, the sovereign light that is us. And then it expands outward from the heart, and that's the cross. That's our resurrected being. That's our ascension. And every time we breathe in and out, this is the sovereign light.
This is the sovereign light. It is.
Yes.
The sovereign light. It's so amazing. So amazing. So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Jeannine, and much love. And you've blessed us all here with your light. I thank you so very much.
Thank you.